Hello, everybody. We are live inside of Eleanor R. Baldwin Arena on the campus of FAU for this edition of FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. On the hardwood of Abyssinian Court, we've got some women's basketball for you tonight inside of the American Conference, where the hometown Florida Atlantic Owls get set to host the Wichita State Shockers. I'm Nathan Korst, happy to have you with us here on this beautiful Tuesday evening from Boca Raton, Florida. The Owls are riding high coming into this matchup, coming off of a 70-63 win against the UAB Blazers in Birmingham. FAU broke what was a 4-game losing streak. The Owls also broke what was a 3-game losing streak against the Blazers, and it was also the first time since 2016 that FAU women's basketball had defeated UAB at Bartow Arena. The Owls had 4 players in double figures in last Saturday's win, with junior forward Vivian Anua leading the way with 15 points. Shifting things over to Wichita State, the Shockers have dropped their last 5 games and are still searching for their first win in conference play here tonight after suffering an 83-56 blowout loss to East Carolina this past Saturday. The Shockers of Wichita State are led in scoring by graduate guard Jayla Harding, the New Mexico State transfer, who's putting up just a shade under 13 minutes per game. Well, we're going to take a break for a few minutes, but when we return, it is the opening tip-off as well as the starting lineups. It is the 7-9 Florida Atlantic Owls and the 3-14 Wichita State Shockers when we return on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. And welcome back to FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. Nate the Korst, happy to have you with us here on this Tuesday evening. It's time for the starting lineups between Florida Atlantic and Wichita State. First, let's go over the starting five for the visiting Wichita State Shockers. The Shockers are led by third-year head coach Terry Nooner. In the backcourt for the Shockers, up first will be the graduate 5'7" guard Abby Cater, transferred in from Austin Peay. She will make her 17th appearance of the season and 12th start of the season. Joining her in the backcourt will be the 5'8" graduate guard Jayla Harding. Jayla Harding, the leading scorer for Wichita State, as mentioned pregame, averaging just a shade under 13 points per game, transferred in from New Mexico State. Taya Davis, the 5'7" graduate guard, the transfer out of Fordham, one of the lead guards for Wichita State, looking to be in the front court tonight. And then the main front court for the Shockers, 6'2" graduate forward Treasure Thompson, the Texas Southern transfer, coming off a pretty good performance despite the loss against East Carolina. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, almost a double-double for the 6'2" graduate forward. And at center for Wichita State will be the graduate 6'4" center Cheyenne Banks, who transferred in from Central Arkansas. So some good size for Terry Nooner in his squad. Shifting things over for FAU, their starting five in the backcourt for head coach Leanne Freeland in her first year at the helm. The 5'11" junior guard Grace Carsonson, FAU's leading scorer so far this season, or one of their leading scorers, I should say. Definitely FAU's best three-point shooter, though, coming off a double-figure performance in the win over UAB. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. With 4 three-pointers, she really filled up the stat sheet. Joining her in the backcourt, however, will be the 6-foot graduate guard Jessica Jess Moores. The Nova Southeastern transfer, of course, followed head coach Freeland here to Boca Raton. In the front court for FAU will be the 5'11" sophomore guard Maddie Gewirtz, who has been on a tear in her last 3 games, averaging over 15 points in those contests. She transferred in from New Mexico State, along with Wichita State guard Jayla Harding, so they used to be teammates. And we are getting ready to tip things up here in Boca Raton. Cheyenne Banks and Vivian Anua for the tip. Banks tips it back to the point guard, and we are underway here in Boca Raton. Zahira Arizmendi and Vivian Anua also in the front court for Florida Atlantic, as Arizmendi throws it out of bounds, but it looks like it's going to stay FAU basketball. Arizmendi, the 5'8" junior guard, in her second season here in Boca Raton, and Vivian Anua, FAU's leading scorer, 6'2" junior forward from Barton Community College, coming off a team-high 15-point performance in last Saturday's win against the UAB Blazers. 9:35 left to go in the first quarter. Scoreless so far here in Boca Raton. Carsonson gets it left wing. She's got Anua flashing. Finds a cutting Maddie Gewirtz across the lane, and Gewirtz lays it in off the glass with the left hand to get things going for Florida Atlantic. 2-0 Owls lead early against the Shockers. Cheyenne Banks, the right wing. Abby Cater, straightaway triple, misses on the right side of the rim. Anua dives for the rebound, but Treasure Thompson won the battle, gets it back up, finds Taya Davis, dribble drive to the rim, fighting with the ball after the miss. Anua stole it away, leaves it for Arizmendi to go right to left. Carsonson, left wing, fires up a tray ball, but it hits the back iron. And Wichita State now moving in transition with Abby Cater, goes up with her right hand. Carsonson got a good contest on it. It goes out of bounds. Looks like Grace deflected it. It will stay Wichita State basketball under the rim. As mentioned before, Shockers led by third-year head coach Terry Nooner. As the inbound pass is tapped out of bounds, Grace Carsonson once again getting her hands in there. The program's 10th all-time head coach is Terry Nooner. He was an associate head coach at his alma mater, Kansas, before coming to Wichita State. As the inbound goes to Jayla Harding. As mentioned before, the Shockers' leading scorer, about 13 points per contest. Wichita State still looking for their first win in American Conference play. They are 0-4. They've dropped games to Tulsa, Tulane, Temple, and East Carolina. And the Shockers threw it away. So FAU forces the turnover. Owls moving right to left. Wichita State moving left to right. It's 2-0 Owls lead, 8:24 remaining in quarter number 1. Moores lofts it high and the inbound for Onawa. Hands it to her point guard, Zahira Arzmendi. Arzmendi coming off of a double-figure performance with 10 points. Feeds it inside for Vivian Onawa on the left side of the lane, and she finishes the job using the glass on the layup, and it's 4-0 Florida Atlantic. As mentioned pregame, the Owls had 4 players in double figures in the win over UAB. They won 70-63. Arzmendi chipped in 10 points, knocked down a couple of tray balls as well. Shockers on offense moving left to right. Banks finds a cutting Taya Davis, left side of the rim. Her layup's no good. Arzmendi moving in transition right to left. Throws it up for Gewurz inside. Ball was tipped out of bounds. They're going to say Maddie touched it last, so Wichita State forces the turnover, and they'll move left to right. Wichita State already made a substitution. They're going to make another one right now. Jada McDonald is in the game, the 5'11" junior forward, as well as 5'7" graduate guard Diamond Richardson. Couple of somewhat reserved players now on for Terry Nooner as the inbound goes to Richardson. She's working on Maddie Gewurz, right side of the rim, falling away jumper, and that falls. So it's 4-2 Florida Atlantic. Arzmendi lofts it up top for Just Moores. Carson's into the corner. Arzmendi rises for a right corner three, misses off the right side of the rim. Onawa fighting for the rebound against Banks as she stole it away. Great hustle from Vivian as she gets it back up to the right wing. And the Owls will have a second chance. Arzmendi driving in from the right wing, and she scoops and she scores with the left hand. Owls getting to the basket efficiently and early so far. It's 6-2 Florida Atlantic, under 7 to go in the first. As Jayla Harding rises for a straightaway triple, but it misses off the back iron. And Maddie Gewurz now has it right wing. Bounce pass, cutting Arzmendi, but it was stolen away. Wichita State getting their hands dirty in the passing lane. Jada McDonald came up with the steal. Diamond Richardson goes baseline, misses her layup, got her second chance, goes back up. Maddie Gewurz met her at the summit and blocked it away. Great defensive play from Maddie Gewurz to go straight up and down. No foul to come away with the block. Owls will make a few substitutions of their own, as 5'6" senior guard Micaiah Simmons will come on, and Evie Plata, 5'3" sophomore guard, and 6' sophomore guard Aaron Rogers. It's very good to have Aaron Rogers back in the lineup. She was one of the more impactful players for this team last year, but she went out with an injury, and she had to miss pretty much the entire second half of the season, as Maimuna Sissoko uses the footwork down low to get the layup for 2. So it's 6-4 Florida Atlantic. Simmons under the rim, kicks it out. Gewurz fires the left corner three, and it's nothing but twine. Maddie Gewurz with her first 3 of the game, and FAU's first 3 of the night. I mentioned earlier how Maddie Gewurz is averaging a little over 15 points per game in her last 3 contests. Really a breakout performance. She's also shot 50% from beyond the arc in those 3 games, and she's 1 for 1 so far here tonight. Owls pushing pace in transition. Jess Moores bumps a player down in the post, uses the strength, goes up with both hands, and lays it in. Owls doing a pretty good job forcing turnovers. They've made their last 3 shots, and it's 11-4 Florida Atlantic leads. Wichita State back on offense, moving left to right. Harding's got it. Right wing, fakes the screen back up top. It's Jada McDonald. She drives in from straight away. Goes up on Micaiah Simmons, and she's able to draw the foul. So a couple of free throws upcoming for Jada McDonald. She played 20 minutes in the loss to East Carolina. Transferred in from Pensacola State College, although she's originally from Dallas, Texas. But before we get to those free throws, we will go to a media timeout. 5 minutes exactly left to go in quarter number 1. It's an 11-4 Florida Atlantic advantage. We will be right back here on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. And welcome back to FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. Nathan Korst with you here. Jada McDonald now at the line for Wichita State. She knocks down her first free throw. McDonald has mightily struggled from the charity stripe this season, shooting just 41% from the line in 25-26, but she's able to split both of them on this trip. Florida Atlantic leads 11-6 early on. Owls are shooting 71% from the field right now at 5 for 7, as here Arsmendi came down on the other end, pulls up with a free throw line jumper, and she knocks it down. So make that 6 for 8 shooting for the Owls right now, and they've connected on their last 4 field goals. As the Shockers have it down low, Jada McDonald goes up to the rim, getting very physical. Ball went out of bounds. Looks like it's going to go Florida Atlantic's way. Micaiah Simmons will inbound it under the rim. And she gets it into Aaron Rogers. Rogers wearing a big left leg brace. Looks like that's what the injury was. Kicks it out to a left corner 3 for Grace Carstensen, and Carstensen knocks it down. The Owls leading 3-point shooter at about a 40% clip. Grace Carstensen, very, very consistent from beyond the line, or beyond the arc, I should say. As we get a dribble drive from Diamond Richardson. Her shot was no good. Aaron Rodgers got the rebound, fighting with the ball. We will inbound it under the net. Florida Atlantic with the ball. Rodgers will be on the inbound under the net. These are two fairly experienced teams, but especially Wichita State. For the Shockers, they are actually tied with UL Monroe for the most graduate players on a Division I roster this season. And the Shockers also have the second highest percentage of upperclassmen on a roster this season. This team has 8 seniors, and that includes graduate players, and then 5 juniors on top of that. Arsmendi dribble drive from the left wing, goes up right hand. Her shot, little too strong, misses on the left side of the rim. 16-6, Florida Atlantic leads here early in Boca. Under 4 minutes to go, quarter number 1. In the corner, Wichita State has it. It's Karis Washington. Gets the entry pass to Breon White. Has a mismatch over Micaiah Simmons. She spins, she turns around, and she hits the jumper from about 5 feet out. Using the size to her advantage, Micaiah Simmons driving on the other end. Goes up with a Euro step. That misses on the other side of the rim. Wichita State maybe having a little bit of momentum right now. Breon White finds a cutting Sophie Benharuga. Diamond Richardson now has a right wing, driving in. Guarded by Carstensen, zips it to the corner. It's Benharuga on a left corner triple, but it rims out. Benharuga just a 20% three-point shooter this year. Aaron Rodgers from the right wing drives in, pulls up on the right elbow, and the shot misses just about everything. 16-8, Florida Atlantic leads by 8. About 2:45 remaining in quarter number 1. Jayla Harding coming off a screen, gets to Breon White. Right wing, Richardson takes her time, fires a right wing 3, but that rims out. Arsmendi was right there to collect the rebound. Speeding up the court, leaves it for Rodgers. Takes her time, wide open straightaway triple, and it is nothing but nylon. Aaron Rodgers connects on FAU's 3rd three-pointer of the game, and the Owls have extended their lead by 11. 19-8, Florida Atlantic leads as we will get a timeout. Terry Nooner and Wichita State. Owls are shooting 62% from the floor right now, 8 of 13, and 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. Wichita State just 3 of 15 from the floor and 0 of 5 from beyond the arc. We will take a quick break right here on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. 19-8, Florida Atlantic. And we're right back here on FAU Owl Radio. 19-8, Florida Atlantic leads. 2:20 left to go in quarter number 1. It's been a very balanced game so far. Both teams definitely working inside of the arc, inside of the paint, specifically Wichita State. They've been using their size As meanwhile, Asia Reeves, the 5'8" junior guard, drove in from the right corner, took the contact, went up with the right hand, scored off glass and in, and she drew the foul. So Asia Reeves is going to go to the free throw line for a chance at a 3-point play, as the Shockers look to cut into FAU's advantage. A lot of FAU's inside buckets have come in transition so far, as Reeves misses on the free throw, as Rogers tips the rebound to Jess Moores, and the Owls will bring it back up right to left. But the Owls have been no slouch in the half court either, along with transition, as Aaron Rogers drives inside, has her shot denied at the rim. Breon White collected the rebound. The Owls' buckets really have come in two ways so far, either on fast break buckets inside the paint or in a half-court set from outside the arc. Can't be too mad at that if you're first-year head coach Leanne Freeland. As we will get a shooting foul on the other end going on Nevi Plata. That will be foul number 2 on Plata, but she will stay in the game. The lineup right now for Florida Atlantic consists of Jess Moores, Zahira Arzmendi, Nevi Plata, Maddie Gewurtz, and Vivian Anua. As Abby Cater is at the line right now for Wichita State, as she connects on the first free throw. Second one falls in as well. Shockers cut into FAU's advantage. It's 19-12. Florida Atlantic still leading, 1:38 left to go in quarter number 1. Touching on FAU's big win over UAB this past Saturday, which, as I mentioned pregame, it was the first time in 9 years, since 2016, where FAU had beaten UAB up in Birmingham at Bartow Arena. The men's basketball team did a very similar thing almost a week ago, although for them it was their first ever time beating the Blazers in Birmingham. As Vivian Anua got the entry pass on the low block, but she threw the pass away across the lane, and now the Shockers have it. Down 7. We're going to cut into this advantage. Abby Cater kicks it back out to the left wing. It's Asia Reeves. Takes her time, fires up a left wing 3, misses off the back heel. Anua came crashing down with the rebound, and Wichita State committed a foul on it. That foul will go on number 25, Karis Washington. Washington transferred in from Coffeyville Community College. And she actually made her season debut in the loss to East Carolina, played 26 minutes in that game. Had a pretty solid performance, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. 19-12, Florida Atlantic leads. We're under a minute now left in the first quarter. Gewurtz finds a cutting Micaiah Simmons, met by a double team, goes up right hand, other side of the rim, no good. Anua got the rebound. She goes back up for a second chance bucket, and she was hacked on the way up. Vivian Anua will make her first appearance at the charity stripe in this game. Anua, a 52% free throw shooter so far on the season. She also leads the Owls in scoring with at about a 9.6 points per game clip, as she couldn't get the first free throw to fall. That rims out. And this is an FAU team where there's not really one player that you can say, like, oh, yeah, that's the go-to player. There just isn't, as Anua can't connect on either free throw. She goes 0 for 2. And Shockers have it moving left to right, 19-12. About 30 seconds to go in quarter number 1. Micaiah Simmons got a steal inside, gets it up to Anua. Owls now moving in transition. Arzmendi tried to throw it to the right wing for Jess Moores, but she threw it away. Asia Reeves came away with the steal. Shockers in transition. She gets up to Abby Cater for the transition bucket. Wichita State starting to cut into this deficit. They're on a 6-0 run. Florida Atlantic still leads 19-14. It's Micaiah Simmons, left wing with 4. 3 seconds, up top, wide open Moores at the buzzer. She knocks down the straightaway triple to beat the horn. Jess Moores finds the bottom of the bucket, and that's some positivity. That's a great way to end quarter number 1 if you're head coach Leanne Freeland, as the Owls break Wichita State's 6-0 run, and it'll be a 22-14 Florida Atlantic advantage heading into quarter number 2. as Jess Moores connects on her first 3 of the game, and she now leads all FAU scorers with 5 points. We'll take a quick break right here on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. And welcome back to FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. Nathan Korst here on the call between Florida Atlantic and Wichita State. Just about a moment away from starting off the second quarter. 22-14, Florida Atlantic leads Wichita State. Jess Moores will inbound it from the near sideline. In the game for FAU, the 5 lineup for them right now is Jess Moores, Micaiah Simmons, Maddie Gortz, Vivian Anua, and Zahira Arzmendi. Owls have started off this game shooting very, very well from beyond the arc. 4 of 6 from downtown. Meanwhile, Gortz fires up a left wing 3, but that's no good. Simmons came crashing in, fighting for the rebound, but we'll have an off-ball foul going on FAU. Looks like the foul's going to go on Vivian Anua, who also came crashing in to help Simmons try and secure the offensive board. And the Shockers now on offense, moving left to right. Abby Cater to the corner, Asia Reeves, Diamond Richardson. Excuse me, that was Breon White. Bounces it in for Abby Cater. And we'll get a stoppage of play as Asia Reeves was just setting up top at the logo. Not sure why they stopped play. Might be a clock issue. That's what it's looking like. But now we will go. 9:27 left to go, second quarter. Still a 22-14 Florida Atlantic lead. Asia Reeves working straight away. Penhoruga gets to Cater. Off top, Breon White. Passes to her left. Finds Kylie Ortiz, who dribbles, takes her time on a left side 3, but that hits off the back iron. Simmons threw a pass away, tried to get it to Jess Moores, but Abby Cater came away with the steal. Cater goes up, has her shot denied at the rim, and now the Owls moving the other way, right to left in transition. Micaiah Simmons, left side, finds a cutting Zahira Arzmendi, puts the ball on the deck, gets it inside. Vivian Anua finishes the job. Drops it off the glass with both hands. Good pass from Zahira Arzmendi on the assist to Vivian Anua inside. 24-14 Florida Atlantic, 8.5 to go in quarter number 2. Kylie Ortiz up top. Penhoruga fires her second 3 of the game straight away. That time no good either. Maddie Gilwerts cleared the rebound, crosses to her left. Down low, passes back up top for Moores, but they're going to say Maddie Gilwerts dragged the foot and traveled. So the Owls will turn it over. FAU also making a couple of substitutions as Aaron Rogers and Anivi Plata will check back in for head coach Leanne Freeland. And for Wichita State, they will put back on 6'2" grad forward Treasure Thompson. So right now for Wichita State is Treasure Thompson, Asia Reeves, Kylie Ortiz, Jayla Harding, and Breon White. That's the 5 for third-year head coach Terry Nooner. 24-14 FAU. About 8 minutes and change to go in quarter number 2. Breon White working left elbow. Fades away over Aaron Rodgers. Her shot misses off the back heel. Maddie Gilwerts right there to collect the board. Just Moore's right wing up top. Aaron Rodgers thought about a 3. Sizing up Breon White. Goes at her, puts the shoulder into Breon White, and she was fouled on the way up. Very good dribble drive from Aaron Rodgers, and now she gets 2 free throws to show for it. I touched on Aaron Rodgers a little bit earlier. Didn't completely get to talk about her, but obviously she was one of the major key pieces of this FAU team last year. Unfortunately, then she went down with an injury. There's a knee injury, to be specific. She only played 12 games before going down as Rodgers misses the first free throw. Owls have yet to make a free throw so far today. But the second one is pure for Aaron Rodgers, so 1 for 4 shooting from the line for Florida Atlantic. But yeah, Rodgers made her season debut back on December 19th in a neutral site game. It was the FIU Christmas Classic exactly against the UMass Minutemen. She already has a double-figure performance so far in the season. She put up 17 in FAU's loss against Memphis back on January 7th. Florida Atlantic on offense right now, moving right to left. Gilwerts right side of the half court, 25-14 is the Owls lead. Jess Morris has it straight away. Working on Wichita State's leading scorer, Harding. She drew a double team. Zips a pass inside for Maddie Gilwerts. Goes up with the layup, but misses off the right side of the rim. Owls going man defense right now. Jess Moore gets a deflection against Diamond Richardson. Tipped her layup inside. Some very nice defensive plays from FAU so far in this game. Arzmendi left all alone in a right wing 3, but it misses off the back heel. But Wichita State fumbled the rebound and turns it over. Very costly turnover for Terry Nooner and his squad. As Taya Davis will check back in for Wichita State, one of Wichita State's leading guards. She leads the Shockers in assists with about 2.9. Aaron Rodgers turning away, right elbow jumper won't fall. Misses off the backboard and the rim. 25-14, FAU still leads, 6:47 to go in the second quarter as Jaden McDonald gets positioning inside on the low block, goes up with the right hand and scores. So it's 25-16, Owls leading by 9. Aaron Rodgers has it right wing. Bounces it up top for Plata. Being absolutely hassled by Taya Davis up top. Finds Arzmendi, who drives in from the left wing. Bodies go colliding to the hardwood. But Tahir Arzmendi did draw a shooting foul, so she will step to the line to shoot a pair. Owls just 1 of 4 from the free throw line. Compare that to Wichita State's 4 for 5. But the good thing for FAU is that they have definitely outshot Wichita State so far in this game from the floor and the three-point line. They've held the Shockers to just 6 for 25 shooting and 0 of 8 from outside the arc, as Arzmendi knocked down the first free throw. And she's able to knock down both free throws. Here, Arzmendi. She's FAU's leading scorer at the moment. She got 6 points on 2 of 5 shooting, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. 27-16, Florida Atlantic leads. About 6 minutes and change left to go. Jaden McDonald spins on Aaron Rodgers. Falling away, jumper off the backboard, that falls. And Micaiah Simmons will inbound it to Nevi Plata. FAU will slow things down here, as much like FAU Wichita State. Has got mostly with a man defense so far. Plata drove to the rack on Taya Davis, took the contact. She went up and she got herself a shooting foul. Owls will go right back to the line this time with a Nevi Plata. It'll be her first charity stripe trip so far in this game. Outside of the 4 3-pointers for FAU, both these teams have really been living inside of the arc. Wichita State especially, as Plata knocks down her first free throw. 14 points in the paint for Wichita State. Compare that to FAU's 12. Plata's able to knock down both free throws. Perfect 2-for-2 trip from the charity stripe for her. One big advantage that the Shockers do have right now as well is the bench point battle. They have 14 of their 18 points have come off the bench, as Wichita State will turn over as bodies went colliding to the floor. Owls will inbound it from the near sideline with Zahira Arzmendi. So yeah, Wichita State with 14 points off the bench. FAU just 4 so far in this game. Or excuse me, make that 6 points off the bench. The Owls come into this game top 50 nationally in bench points per game at about 26, as Aaron Rodgers couldn't connect on a right corner three. It hit off the front side of the rim. So along with being top 50, the Owls are also #1 in the American in bench points per game. Aaron Rodgers able to put a stop to that layup. Owls now pushing pace the other way. Micaiah Simmons leaves it up top for Carstensen. She'll reset it to Arzmendi. Passes the right wing for Simmons, takes her time, rises for a right wing three. That misses off the right side of the rim. So FAU starting to cool down now a little bit from three-point range. High pass inside, goes to Treasure Thompson. She goes up with both hands, no good. Got her own rebound, kicks it back out. It's Jayla Harding on the left wing three. That rims out. Rodgers goes to the floor fighting for the rebound. Ball goes out of bounds. Karis Washington was in there. Refs at first said Wichita State ball. Not sure if that's state or not, but we will go to a media timeout. Florida Atlantic still with a 29-18 lead, but they have missed their last 5 shots. So hopefully head coach Leanne Freeland can draw something up for these final 4:45 here in the first half. 29-18, FAU leads. And welcome back to FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. 29-18, Florida Atlantic leads this one. 4:40 left to go in the first half. The scoring has really gone around for FAU, but it's Zahir Arzmendi leading the Owls with 6 points. Navy Plata drives in from the right wing, bounces it back out. Simmons, left wing three on the way. Misses off the front side of the rim. FAU has definitely cooled off from beyond the arc. They were 4 of 6, but now they're just 4 of 11. They've missed their last few three-pointers. Owls were able to force a miss. Plata. Owls back on offense. Into the corner. Carstensen, deep right corner triple. And it's nothing but twine for Grace Carstensen as she connects on three-pointer number 2 for her. And the 5th three-pointer for FAU so far in this game. Breaking what was 6 straight missed shots from the Owls. And it's a 32-18 Florida Atlantic lead. Owls starting to create some much-needed separation. And Grace Carstensen, definitely one of the more reliable players on this team. Easily FAU's best three-point shooter. She's coming off back-to-back double-digit performances. And she's well on her way to that as she's now tied with Arzmendi for 6 points a pop. Carstensen works it to the corner. It's Maddie Gewertz on the right corner three, and that's nylon. FAU had started the game very well from 3, 4 for 6. Then they cooled off, but now they've hit their last 2 thanks to Grace Carstensen and now Maddie Gewertz, who has been a big success story, as mentioned before, over the past few contests. 35-18 Florida Atlantic. Up top by a good amount, by 17 to be exact. Owls now moving the other way. Carstensen, it's another 3, this time from the right wing. She rattles it in. Grace Carstensen with a heat check three-pointer. FAU with their third straight 3 of the ball game. Carstensen with 2 of them. And Florida Atlantic is absolutely feeling it right now on an 11-0 run over the past 2:43, and their lead has ballooned to 20, 38-18 on their home court. 3:12 to go in the first half. What a game for Grace Carstensen so far. Now a team-high 9 points on 3 of 4 shooting from beyond the arc. Maddie Gewertz right behind her with 8 points on 2 for 3 shooting from 3-point range. So Gewertz fastly approaching double-digit territory. She's only scored in double figures 1 time this season before she had that amazing 3-game stretch. So it's a 38-18 Florida Atlantic lead. Grace Carstensen with a heat check triple that led to a timeout Terry Nooner in Wichita State. And the Shockers, they could really use some, not only defense, but they could really use some offensive life right now as well. They've missed their last 5 shots. They haven't scored in a little over 3 minutes of game time. And unlike FAU, they haven't been able to find anything from beyond the arc. Wichita State is 0 for 10 from 3-point range right now, and just 7 of 31 shooting from the floor. FAU absolutely feeling it as the players just about come out of the Wichita State timeout. The lineup right now for head coach Leanne Freeland. It's Maddie Gewertz, Grace Carstensen, Jess Moore, Zahir Arzmendi, and Micaiah Simmons. So a relatively small lineup now on for FAU, with Jess Moores being their tallest player in the lineup at about 6 foot even. Shockers get it on the inbound, moving left to right. 38-18 is Florida Atlantic's lead. We'll have an off-ball foul as Micaiah Simmons got tied up in the corner. I didn't quite see what happened. I think Jaden McDonald, not that she shoved her to the ground, but something happened to where they tagged an offensive foul off the ball on Jaden McDonald. So FAU now back on offense on an 11-0 run and a 13-2 run. Micaiah Simmons has it, low block, kicks it back out. A wide open Carstensen from the left wing. She knocks down another 3. Grace Carstensen has ice in her veins right now. She's 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. She can't miss, folks. 41-18. Florida Atlantic really starting to run away with this one. McDonald down low, had her shot deflected by Carstensen. She's doing it on both ends. Jess Moore's in transition. Euro step to the rim, but her layup would not fall as it rimmed out. About 2 minutes and change now remaining in the first half. Wichita State needs a perfect final 2:14. Asia Reeves scoops it up on the left side of the rim on the dribble drive, but her shot wouldn't go. Went out of bounds. It's going to stay Shockers basketball. Wichita State will put on senior forward Maimuna Sissoko. So Florida Atlantic on a 14-0 run. Grace Carstensen on an absolute heater with 12 points on 4 of 5 shooting from beyond the arc in just 11 minutes of play. As Micaiah Simmons stole away the inbound pass, she euros to the rim over Asia Reeves, and she lays it in with authority. Make that a 16-0 FAU run. The Owls are absolutely dominating on the hardwood right now. 43-18 is their lead with under 2 minutes to go in half number 1. Benaruga passes from straight away inside, finds Maimuna Sissoko, and finally the Shockers are able to snap FAU's 16-0 run with a score. But Florida Atlantic still leads by 23 points, 43-20. Owls slowing things down. Micaiah Simmons, left side of the half court, gets it over to Arsmendi, works it over to Carstensen in the corner. Back up to Morris, finds a cutting Arsmendi down low. That pass got tipped out of bounds. They're going to say Arsmendi touched it last. She was tied up with Maimuna Sissoko. The Shockers come away with the basketball. 43-20, Florida Atlantic lead. 1 minute and 11 seconds on the clock left in the first half. Vivian Anua will check back in for this final 111 to give FAU a little more size, maybe a little more tenacity. Anua with 4 points, 5 rebounds so far tonight. Rogers guarding Abby Cater, who drives in from the left wing. She was able to get Rogers in the air, and she draws herself a shooting foul. So Abby Cater will make her second trip to the charity stripe. She's 2 for 2 so far tonight. Florida Atlantic right now winning the rebounding battle, 23-20. As Cater unable to knock down the first free throw. Big thing FAU likes to do when opposing players are at the free throw line is put up free throw distractions on the video board. We got 2 of them on that trip. First it was the famed Rizzler, and then we had Michael Scott playing basketball in the office. Carstensen, left corner, back out to Rogers. She drives in left wing. She steps back from the American logo and knocks it down. Aaron Rogers with a perfect baseline jumper for 2. Owls need to get back on defense, though. They lost sight of Asia Reeves, who scores in transition. 45-23, Florida Atlantic. Owls have made 6 of their last 7 field goals. Game clock is 20 seconds. Shot clock is about 18, so about a second difference between both clocks. So FAU should hold the ball, but Rogers had the ball stripped by Abby Cater, but it hit off her shoe out of bounds. So the Owls flirted with the turnover, but they'll get it right back. They'll maintain possession. 12.1 left to go in the first half. Owls will take the final shot. 45-23, 22-point lead. It's Arsmendi, Gewurz, Aaron Rogers, Jess Moores, and Vivian Anua in for FAU. We have a stoppage of play. Referees at the scorer's table. What I can only assume is probably a clock error of some sort. It was a clock error. What happened was they turned the shot clock off by mistake. There's 12.1 on the game clock, but there's 11 seconds on the shot clock still because the ball went out of bounds. Pass goes into Arsmendi, but she fell to her knees. She lost the basketball. Abby Cater came away with it, picks up the loose change. She went and scored, Wichita State then tipped the inbound pass. It's 45-25 FAU. Owls on the inbound. 1 second. Into Korst. Fires it from half court. Maddie couldn't get the half court shot to fall. That's how we will end half number 1 here in Paradise. And dominant first half from Florida Atlantic, especially in the latter minutes, as FAU connected on 6 of their last 7 shots. Florida Atlantic leads this one 45-25, and the scoring has really gone around for the Owls. It's Grace Carstensen leading her squad with 12 points on 4 of 5 shooting, not only from the field but from beyond the arc as well. All of her shots have come from beyond the arc. The 5'11" junior sharpshooter. Right behind her is Maddie Korst with 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting from the floor and 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. Owls shot the ball very, very well in that first half. A lot better than we're used to seeing. 52% from the floor and 53% from three-point range. And for Wichita State, they were held to just 10 of 36 shooting from the floor and 0 of 10 from beyond the arc. Well, we will go to the halftime break. Owls very happy right now, up 20, 45-25. When we return, it'll be the beginning of the second half between Florida Atlantic and Wichita State, so don't go anywhere here on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. And we are back on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. Welcome back here with me, Nathan Korst. Start of the second half now between Florida Atlantic and Wichita State, where the Owls are dominating right now, 45-25, shooting 52% and 53%. 52% from the floor, 53% from beyond the arc in that first half. Grace Carstensen leads all FAU scores with 12 points. Shockers now moving right to left in this one. Taya Davis on the cut, finds it inside for Maimuna Sissoko, met by a double team, brings it back out to the left elbow. She's got 2 seconds, passes it back out to Harding with 1 second, fires it from the right wing, about the three-point line, but it hit off the backside of the rim. Maddie Gewurz, though, goes coast to coast, left to right, and scoops and scores with the right hand. Maddie Gewurz having herself a game. She's now in double figures, so her 4th straight game now in double figures with 10 points. 4 for 6, shooting 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. For the transfer from New Mexico State, Jaden McDonald drives in from the right wing, gets herself a bucket inside on the layup. And a cool little story between Maddie Gewurz and Jayla Harding, as Jess Moores drives inside, gets the layup to go for 2 on the low block. But Maddie Gewurz and Jada Harding both transferred in from New Mexico State, so they were both teammates for the Aztecs this past season in 2024-25. Harding, one of the go-to scorers on that team, although Gewurz was more in a reserve role for the Aztecs. But now they get to face off against each other here today. As Vivian Anua gets it on the low block, goes up 2 hands over a defender. Her shot rims out. It's 49-27, Florida Atlantic, a little over 8 minutes and change to go in the third quarter. As Abby Cater with the dribble drive from the right wing. Got Maddie Gewurz to jump, so Cater will step to the line to shoot a pair. As Cater is able to knock down the first free throw. If the Shockers want any chance of coming back into this game, they're going to have to tighten up on defense a little bit, and they're going to have to shoot the rock a lot better as Cater misses on the second free throw. Jess Moore is moving left to right, right elbow, kicks it out. Carstensen, a 3 from straight away. Rims out, but Anua got the rebound. She goes back up, and she was fouled. So Vivian Anua will step to the line to shoot a pair off of the miss from Grace Carstensen. But as I was saying, the Shockers are going to have to shoot much better from the floor than they did in that first half. Just 29%, 11 of 38 shooting to be exact, as Anua finds the mark on the first free throw. And 0 of 11 from beyond the arc, just not what you want at all if you're head coach Terry Nooner. Vivian Anua goes 1 for 2 from the charity stripe. She missed the second one. Shockers now on offense. A right corner 3 from Jayla Harding. Little too strong, misses off the left side of the rim. Owls now moving left to right, leading 50-28. It's Arizmendi. Back out, high pass for Carstensen. Skipped her a little too high. Tried to get her to the left wing, but the pass went out of bounds. Owls will turn it over. Both teams now with 9 turnovers combined so far in this game. So nothing too crazy. Leanne Freeland will sub Zahira Arizmendi out of the game. She's going to put Anivi Plata in her place. Abby Cater spins. Shoots a 6-foot jumper over the likes of Grace Carstensen. She couldn't find the bottom of the rim. Carstensen straight away. Tried to zip it inside for Anua, but the pass was stolen away. Abby Cater got her hands in there, and then she was tripped up afterwards. So we will get a, looks to be a foul off ball going against Florida Atlantic. And that foul will go on Vivian Anua. The second team foul for FAU, second personal as well for Vivian. As Taya Davis drove in wide open, couldn't get the layup to fall. Plata tracks down the loose ball, lets that bounce out of bounds. Owls gain possession. So Plata in at point guard right now. Owls on top by 32. Or excuse me, make that 22. Plata bounces it to Jess Moores straight away. Zips a pass inside. Vivian Anua goes up against Treasure Thompson, and she's able to lay it in. Check that. That was Maimuna Sissoko. We've seen a lot of those good passes from FAU today. Player would be a little above the arc, usually straight away, and then they'd be able to zip it inside for a free bucket. As Jayla Harding gets the ball in the right corner, misses on a three. Sissoko came away with the offensive rebound. She spins, she goes up, she misses. Owls clear the rebound this time, 52-28, Florida Atlantic leads. Jess Moores drives in from straight away, goes up with her right hand. She got her own rebound. Oh, she picked up her loose change and scores with a reverse layup. And Wichita State will call timeout. Terry Nooner wants to talk things over. Florida Atlantic is absolutely dominating right now, 54-28. 6:09 left to go in this third quarter. FAU starting to run away with this one with the Shockers having missed their last 5 shots. We'll step away right here on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. And we're back on FAU Owl Radio. About 6 minutes and change left to go in the third quarter between Florida Atlantic and Wichita State. Owls lead this one 54-28. It has been all FAU so far here at the Ellie. Shockers have it on offense, moving right to left in the corner. Right corner three from Asia Reeves, puts it up. Little too strong. Aaron Rogers comes away with the defensive rebound. She's pushing pace, trying to go coast to coast, but they're going to say she carried on her way to the rack, I should say. So Wichita State back on offense now, trying to put a stop to this scoring drought. They haven't scored in a little over 2.5 minutes now. They're 0 for their last 6. As Reeves gets it up to Karis Washington, works over to Diamond Richardson. She drives in from the left wing. Aaron Rodgers was in there trying to draw a charge, but they're going to call blocking on the 6-foot sophomore. The basket is good from Diamond Richardson, so she has a chance to turn a three-point play. She's able to finally get Wichita State back in the scoring column after missing their last 6 field goals. Shockers are still trying to find their mark from three-point range, though. 0 of 14 from beyond the arc, and they had similar struggles in the loss to East Carolina where they shot just 1 for 11 against the Pirates. Simmons tries to inbound it to Anivi Plata. Diamond Richardson was pressing her all the way. She tipped the pass out of bounds. It's going to stay FAU's way. 54-31, Florida Atlantic leads. 5:18 left to go in the third. Aaron Rodgers now on the inbound on the near sideline. It's Aaron Rodgers, Maddie Gewertz, and Anivi Plata, Zahira Arizmendi, and Micaiah Simmons on for FAU. And it looks like the referees are talking things over. They might change this call. Call on the floor is Florida Atlantic ball. As mentioned, Rodgers was trying to inbound to Plata. Diamond Richardson got her hand in there. So they're saying she touched it last. Refs still haven't made a final decision. And now they have. Looks like it's going to stay FAU ball with Rodgers on the inbound. Gets it into Plata, who is being pressed again. Very good dribble drive to work it up the court off the double team. To the left corner, Arizmendi on a three. Little too strong. Bounces off the right side of the rim. But a very good inbound pass, I got to say. Very good moves from Plata to even create that open look for Zahira. Up top is Asia Reeves, right side of the half court. 5 minutes to go in the third. Spin move inside from Treasure Thompson. Works in over Maddie Gewertz, and she's able to drop it in the bucket for 2. 54-33 FAU. Aaron Rodgers works it to the left side. Maddie Gewertz, a straightaway triple off the back heel, no good. Diamond Richardson crosses to her left, turns around, fades away from the left elbow. Good shot, but it missed off the right side of the rim. Karis Washington got the offensive rebound. She goes back up, and she was hacked on the way up. She'll step to the line to shoot 2. But that will take us to a media timeout with 4:32 remaining in quarter number 3. It's still a big Florida Atlantic lead, 54-33. Owls on top over the Shockers. We'll take a quick break right here on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. And welcome back to FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. 4:32 to go in the third quarter. Karis Washington at the line for Wichita State as she knocks down her first free throw. And she knocked down the second one as well. That was nothing but twine. Nice little 2-for-2 trip from her. And it's a 7-0 Wichita State run at the moment over the last about minute. Florida Atlantic still leads 54-35. Owls trying to get the ball past the timeline. Shockers continuing to press in the backcourt. Carstensen has it straight away. Passes left to Simmons. Left wing rises for a left wing three and drains it. Micaiah Simmons knocks down her first three-pointer of the game, and it's FAU's 9th overall. Jayla Harding tries to respond the other end with a left wing three of her own, but it misses off front iron. Carstensen cleared the rebound. 57-35 Owls lead. Up top, Simmons open for three. Yes, sir! Micaiah Simmons. She has a knack for just ultimately turning into a flamethrower out of completely nowhere. Back-to-back threes for the South Alabama transfer. And Simmons now up to 8 points on the game. 60-35. Florida Atlantic now leads by 25. And it's not even just Simmons that can get hot in an instant. Obviously, Grace Carstensen is easily the #1 player for that. Maddie Gewirtz as well, I would say. But, I mean, in general, there's a lot of players on this team that can really get hot from beyond the arc in an instant. And we've seen that quite a bit in this game. And the Owls are on a 6-0 run right now. Completely flipped to the script after Wichita State went on a 7-0 run. As Breonna White's at the free throw line. She went 0 for 2 from the line, missed both of them. 3:30 remaining in the third quarter. Arizmendi crossing over to her right behind the back, leaves it for Simmons. Gets a player to jump. She's sizing up left wing, backs up on to the logo. Drives to her right, driving in on Treasure Thompson. Scoops it up with the right hand, and she scores. So back-to-back triples from Simmons and then a little dribble drive, 8 straight points for the Pompano Beach native. Wichita State then follows it up with a bucket of their own. And then FAU threw it away in the half court. So not an ideal sequence, not something you'd want if you're head coach Leanne Freeland. It's a 62-35 Florida Atlantic lead, 3:10 to go in quarter number 3. The Owls have 3 players in double figures at the moment. Grace Carstensen with 12, Kai Simmons now with 10, and Maddie Gewirtz with 10 as well. And for the Shockers of Wichita State, just has not been the same story. They're led by Jada McDonald at the moment with 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting. And overall, Wichita State just has not shot the ball too well in this game. 28% from the floor, and they still have not knocked down a 3. They are 0 of 15. And we now have looks like a timeout on the floor. I think it's an official's timeout. So we will step away for a moment right here on FAU Owl Radio. 62-37, Florida Atlantic leads. And we're back on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. Fairly long officials timeout right there. There was some sort of clock issue. They have put 2:59 back on the game clock. So a little under 3 minutes to go in this third quarter. Florida Atlantic leading 62-35. Entry pass going to Korst Washington, but Zahir Arzmendi knocked it out of bounds. It'll stay Shockers basketball as the inbound. On the second chance goes to Asia Reeves. Back to Washington, left wing, guarded by Arzmendi. Works to left elbow for Ben Haruga. She's got it straight away. Finds a handoff, Asia Reeves. Left wing, 10 seconds on the shot clock. 2.5 to go. Dribble drive from Treasure Thompson. They're going to say Thompson traveled on her voyage to the rim. So FAU forces turnover number 10 from Wichita State. Although, ironically enough, FAU, despite winning by 25 right now, they actually have been losing the turnover battle. FAU has turned it over 12 times compared to Wichita State's 10. Along with that, the Shockers have beaten FAU in bench points, 27-18 advantage there, as well as points in the paint, 28-24. But ultimately, it's just been FAU's overall shooting efficiency, especially from beyond the arc, that have propelled them to this 25-point lead. Owls shooting 50%. Very, very, very good clip from beyond the arc. 10 for 20 for the Owls. Makai Simmons rises for a straightaway three. Hits out the front side of the rim. Anua fighting for the rebound. Tried to save it out of bounds. But possession will go to Wichita State. Vivian Anua, 7 points, 7 rebounds in about 13 minutes of play tonight as Sophie Benharuga knocks down her first three of the game. It was a good open look from the right wing, and she drilled it. Shockers is trying to do whatever they can to chip in to this big deficit, 62-40. Moores drove in from the right corner, had her shot taken away. Now it's Asia Reeves pushing pace the other way, right to left. She drew a shooting foul on the way up. Foul will go on Zahira Arzmendi. And that'll be the first foul on the Madrid, Spain native. In for FAU right now is Grace Carstensen, Micaiah Simmons, Zahira Arzmendi, Vivian Anua, and Jess Moores, the 5 for Coach Leanne Freeland and her Owls. As Reeves can't connect on the first free throw. But she does on the second one. 1 for 2, trip for her. Asia Reeves now up to 5 points, 12 minutes of play tonight. 62-41 Florida Atlantic leads. Micaiah Simmons going coast to coast, driving in from the right wing, but her layup rattled out. Anua was there trying to save it, but to no avail. Little over a minute and ticking left in the third quarter. 62-41 FAU. Korst Washington inside, trying to find a pass. And they're going to call a 3-second violation on Korst Washington. She drove in from the left wing, then picked up her dribble, and then pivoted a couple times, was trying to just find her way out of a jam, trying to find a pass outside the arc. And she spent a little too much time in that key. They called the 3 seconds. Owls back on offense, moving left to right. Plata gets the entry pass, bounces it inside for Vivian Anua, takes the contact from not one but 2 yellow jerseys, and scores off glass and in. So count the bucket. Vivian Anua can turn a 3-point play. That shooting foul will go on Sophie Benharuga. Personal foul number 2 on her. And Vivian Anua has been a major success story here at FAU. As she gets her free throw to fall, but they're going to say lane violation. She took off running right after she let that shot go, but looks like she took off running a little too early. So that free throw will not count despite her making it. 64-41 Florida Atlantic leads. But yeah, JUCO All-American, third team last year at Barton Community College. Vivian Anua, major success story. She recorded 26 double-doubles at Barton Community College last year. Owls were able to force a turnover. They're back on offense left to right. 40 seconds left to go in the third. Carstensen steps back. Up top, Plata bounces it into a cutting. Carstensen takes contact. Grace goes up and scores. Grace Carstensen and the foul. So back-to-back three-point play opportunities for FAU. First it was Vivian Anua on the low block. And then the give and go between Anivi Plata and Grace Carstensen. Great setup for the three-point opportunity. Carstensen able to score the layup through contact. And it's 66-41 FAU. Azarees will check out of the ball game for Wichita State. 5'7" guard Taya Davis now on. As Carstensen is able to knock down the free throw to give FAU 67 points. And she did the good old 6-7 trend. Didn't really see if any of the fans did or not. That's become a very fan favorite trend in the world today. Carstensen knew immediately what to do. Wichita State's got it. They can hold for the final shot. 10 seconds to go. 67-41 FAU leads. Ben Haruga drives in from the right elbow. Euros to the rim. Goes up left hand and scores with 5.9 left. And we will have a stoppage of play here. Might be another clock issue. Referees are talking it over. Referees still talking over. Now we will go to our second officials timeout of this game. Hopefully this one doesn't take as long as that other one, but we will see. 5.9 left to go in the third. Florida Atlantic on top, 67-43. And we're back on FAU Owl Radio. Clock out reset to 4.4 seconds. Gorge tried to inbound it to Zahira Arizmendi. Ball got tipped out of bounds. Now there will be 3.6 where FAU can take the final shot up by 24. Inbound goes to Plata with 1. Didn't get a half-court shot off. Instead tried to pass it to Arizmendi, but that's how we will end quarter number 3 from the Ellie. Florida Atlantic leads 67-43 after 3 quarters of play. FAU scored 22 points in that third quarter. Owls still shooting the basketball at a very, very high clip. And we will take a quick break right here on FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. And welcome back to FAU Owl Radio. Final quarter of play between Florida Atlantic and Wichita State. 67-43 is the Owls' lead. FAU looking for their second win in conference play. Vivian Anua spins on the low block, goes up with both hands over two defenders. Missed her own shot, tried to get her own rebound, but it was tipped out of bounds. But it will stay Florida Atlantic basketball under the net. Whereas here Arzmendi will inbound on the baseline. It's Arzmendi, Gewurz, Carstensen, Anua, and Plata in for FAU. Arzmendi on the inbound. The pass got tipped and stolen away. Abby Cater now blazing up the court right to left, but they'll reset it back up top to Diamond Richardson. Then over to Ben Haruga. Ben Haruga straight away. Passes left back to Taya Davis. Working left elbow. She spins. Fires with the right hand inside, and she's able to score. 67-45 Florida Atlantic. About 9 minutes and change left to go in this one. Gewurz trying to handle the inbound. Looks like we'll get a blocking foul going on Wichita State. A foul going Sophie Ben Haruga. Third foul going on Ben Haruga. Owls, as mentioned before, with 3 players in double figures right now. Carstensen, Simmons, and Gewurz have combined for 35, and Vivian Anua and Jess Moores are knocking on the doorstep with 9 points respectively. Plata tried to find a cutting Micaiah Simmons down the center of the lane, but that pass was stolen away. Shockers going the other way. Taya Davis backing down, and Evie Plata scoops up with the right hand reverse layup. That won't go. Plata came away with the rebound. Wichita State committed a foul off the ball. Owls will make some substitutions now with the ball on the left baseline, as Jess Moores and Aaron Rogers will check in for Leanne Freeland. Looking ahead for FAU, they will be right back here in this building this coming Friday night when they welcome in UTSA for a 7 p.m. tip-off, and then 3 of their next 4 games after that are going to be away from Boca Raton. They'll go at Charlotte, then come back home to take on South Florida, and then go back on the road to take on Tulsa as well as North Texas. So it should be a pretty solid test for head coach Leanne Freeland and her squad. 67-45 FAU leads. Dribble drive from Diamond Richardson doesn't go her way. Navy Plata worked from the corner. Fires a right corner triple, no good. Aaron Rodgers fights for the offensive rebound. She got it. She goes back up, couldn't get the second chance. Wichita State now bringing it up. Diamond Richardson driving in from the left wing. And Jess Moores caught her on the arm on the way up. That's a shooting foul. So Diamond Richardson will go to the line to shoot a pair. And Asia Reeves will now come back on for the Shockers. So FAU leading by 22 at the moment. Wichita State coming off of a blowout loss to East Carolina as Diamond Richardson knocks down her first free throw. They lost that game 83-56. So it's been tough sledding for third-year head coach Terry Nooner and his squad. Diamond Richardson was able to go 2 for 2 from the charity stripe. FAU now back on offense. Simmons bounces the inbound to Nivi Plata, Wichita State. Somewhat pressing in the backcourt. They were a little more aggressive with the trap a little bit earlier in this game. Still time for a comeback, though, despite being down 27.5 to go in regulation. Makai Simmons, nice spin move, nice scoop shot with the right hand, but it rattled out over the likes of Abby Cater, and she got the rebound. Cater left alone, right wing, takes her time, fires up a three, and hits it. Abby Cater able to rip the cords on a three, her first three of the ball game. FAU then turns it over on their end. It's Cater once again, bounce pass inside. It's Jada McDonald who goes up with the right hand, and she was fouled on the way up. So Wichita State starting to gain a little bit of momentum now. You had that Abby Cater three-pointer. Now you're getting Jada McDonald for a couple of free throws. You make both of them, that can bring it down to a 15-point game with still 7 minutes and change to go. This one's definitely not over as McDonald knocks down the first free throw. FAU with a 5 lineup of Jess Moores and Amy Plata, Aaron Rogers, Maddie Gewertz, and Zahira Arzmendi. McDonald goes 2 for 2 on her free throws. So Wichita State slowly clawing their way back into this one. But they're still going to have to play almost perfect if they want a chance. As the inbound from Rogers goes into Gewertz, works it back to Rogers. She'll bring it up now. Straight away, hands it off to Arzmendi on the left wing. Looking for an off-ball pass up top. Jess Moores, dribble drive from the right wing. Skip pass to Arzmendi up top. 10 seconds on the clock. Arzmendi had it stripped away. Plata there to recover it. She runs around a defender. She lost the ball inside. And Abby Cater at the right place at the right time once again. She forces the turnover, bounces it inside. Treasure Thompson. Her shot wouldn't go off the spin move. And Plata clears the rebound. He penetrates from inside the arc. Back out. It's Maddie Gewertz. Arzmendi on a right wing three, but that rattles out. FAU certainly has not been afraid one bit to shoot the three ball. 24 attempts in this game, but 10 makes to go along with it for a very good split of 42%. And we will now go to a FAU timeout. Head coach Leanne Freeland wants to talk things over for this final 6:15. Make sure things don't slip away. Wichita State still in range, but Florida Atlantic looking pretty good right now with a 67-52 lead. And we're back on FAU already. Wichita State on offense. Abby Cater drives it from the right wing. Her layup rattled in and out. And Grace Carson was able to clear the rebound. Wichita State trying to fight their way back into this one. This one's definitely not over. Still just under 6 minutes to go in regulation. 67-52, Florida Atlantic leads. Shockers trying to build that momentum to try and get their way back into this one. Vivian Anua posting up on the low block, back out. And Arizmendi, left wing three on the way. And that is nylon. Good three from Zahira Arizmendi to possibly dash the hopes of a comeback. 70-52 is Florida Atlantic's lead. And then Wichita State threw it away. Asia Reeves tried to kick it back out to the left wing, but she threw the pass a little too high out of bounds. So FAU has now connected on 11 triples and 25 attempts tonight. Very good 44% shooting clip. And the Owls are shooting 47% overall in this one. Wichita State just 31% from the floor and 12% from three-point range. 70-52 FAU. 5:20 to go in regulation. Jess Moores, right wing skip pass to Carstensen. Momentum three from the left wing, but that rims out. Grace Carstensen with 4 threes on the night. So this is Carstensen's 5th game this season hitting at least 4 triples. We will have a stoppage of play. And now we're going to go to what looks to be an official's timeout. That looks to be the case, which means that would be our 3rd one of the game. We'll step away here on FAU already on YouTube. Florida Atlantic 70, Wichita State 52, 5:07 to go. And we're back on FAU already on YouTube. 5:07 to go in regulation. 70-52 is Florida Atlantic's lead. Gortz on the inbound to Jess Moores. She was double teamed. The pass was tipped out of bounds. Owls will regain possession. And it actually wasn't an official's timeout. FAU had challenged an out of bounds call, and the call eventually ended up being overturned. So FAU was able to win the challenge. Or I guess the appeals, as they like to call it. So Owls up 18, just trying to get this one to the finish line. But the Shockers have certainly stayed scrappy. As Arizmendi has it left wing, lost her handle a little bit, being hounded by Jayla Harding up top. Owls have done a very good job neutralizing Jayla Harding. She has yet to score in this game. She's 0 of 8 from the field. Jess Moores with a spin move on the low block and lays it in for 2. And Florida Atlantic's lead is back up to 20, 72-52. Shockers need something big, and they need it now. They have not scored in over 2.5 minutes. Here's a Jalen Harding left wing 3. That finds the bottom of the bucket. Much needed 3 for Wichita State to bring it back down to 17. Jess Moore's now pushing pace up the floor. It bounces in inside for Vivian Anua. She goes up. She was met by 3 Shockers players, and she was able to draw contact and a shooting foul. So she'll step to the line for 2 free throws, where she's just 1 of 5 so far tonight. And looking ahead for Wichita State, this is the first game of a 2-game, not only a 2-game road trip for the Shockers, but a 2-game Florida road trip. As after this coming Saturday, the Shockers will travel up to Tampa to take on South Florida for a 7 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off, as Vivian Anua is able to split both of her free throws. Then the Shockers will return home to take on Memphis, then go back on the road up the Atlantic coast to take on East Carolina, and then back home again to take on UAB for an afternoon matinee game. As Abby Cater on the other end takes contact, is able to score off the glass and in. Wichita State trying to stay within striking distance. 74-57, Florida Atlantic leads. Micaiah Simmons lost the ball. Good defense from Taya Davis to force the turnover. And if you're the Shockers, if you can maybe get a 3-pointer right here, that would really do numbers. It would go a very long way in any comeback attempt. But Abby Cater drove in. She lost the ball. Jess Moores comes away with the steal. Moores dives on the ground. We'll have a jump ball. Never mind. Leanne Freeland took a timeout before they could call the jump ball. Very smart timeout call from the first-year head coach formerly of Nova Southeastern. So we'll go to an FAU timeout, 3:27 to go. 74-57, Florida Atlantic trying to finish this one out. And we're back out of the FAU timeout. Owls with the ball under the net. Jess Moores gets the inbound into Erin Rogers. She turns away for a fadeaway jumper from 8 feet out, and she finds the bottom of the bucket. Erin Rogers up to 6 points. Make that 8 points on the night. On the other end, Jayla Harding rifles up a straightaway triple. Couldn't get that shot to fall. FAU starting to feel pretty good, up 19 with 3 minutes left in regulation. Micaiah Simmons driving in from their left wing, flips it up through contact and scores plus the foul. Another thing outside of the three-point shooting that Florida Atlantic has done tremendously in this game is not only get to the bucket, but draw contact and score despite said contact. This will be the third three-point play opportunity of the game for FAU. I believe all 3 of them coming here, well, for sure coming here in the second half, but maybe even just in the fourth quarter, as Simmons is able to knock down the extra free throw. So it looks like FAU is going to notch their second straight win and their second win in the American, up 79-57, 2:45 to go. Ben Haruga finds the glass on the low block for a layup. Looks to be a much-needed win for FAU to bring some momentum into what should be a pretty good game this coming Friday against UTSA. Same building, same court. Micaiah Simmons driving in from the right elbow. Tough bucket high off the glass and in for Micaiah Simmons. So back-to-back tough buckets for her, and she's up to 15 points on the night. She's tied with Grace Carstensen with 15, team high. Florida Atlantic up 81-59. A little over 2 minutes and change left to go in this one. So along with the second win in American Conference play and second straight win, FAU will also notch their second all-time win against Wichita State. The Owls will still trail the series 2-3 against the Shockers. They'll also snap a 3-game losing streak to Wichita State. They've lost their last 3. And what's just the second matchup here in this building between these two programs. Abby Cater shooting 2 free throws for Wichita State. She's able to knock down the first. They had a shooting foul on the other end. FAU started to knock on the door of their season high in points. The most amount of points they've scored this season was 89 points in the season opener against Florida Memorial, where they scored 89, but FAU will turn it over after a apparent travel violation. Wichita State on offense. Taya Davis driving in from the right corner. She was able to draw contact and draw herself a shooting foul. Foul went on Zahira Arizmendi, so 2 free throws upcoming for Taya Davis. So the Owls might not reach 89 points, but this is still the second most points they have scored in a game this season, 81. Just a lot of things have gone right for FAU in this ball game. But I mean, most accordingly has just been how efficient FAU has been shooting from the floor, as Davis knocks down her second free throw. It's 81-62 Florida Atlantic, a minute 47 to go. The Owls up to 50% shooting from the floor, and they have maintained for a while now over 40% from beyond the arc. They're shooting 42 exactly right now. Just Moore's inside on the right side of the half court. Skip pass to Arizmendi. Works it inside for Anua. Puts on the drop step. Goes up with the left hand and scores. Count the bucket for Vivian Anua. Her second three-point play opportunity of the game. FAU's 4th overall. The Owls are sticking it to the Shockers right now. So there is still a chance FAU could get to that 89-point mark. Anua could make it 84 with this free throw. So assuming FAU holds on to win, the Owls will improve to 8-9 overall in the season, 2-3 in the American, as mentioned before. Wichita State, they will drop their 6th straight game. They'll drop to 3-15 on the season and remain winless in American play at 0-5. Three-pointer from Abby Cater. Can't find the bottom of the bucket. Just over a minute to go in this one. Owls ready to close this one out up 22-84-62. Moore's running around, drives in from straightaway. No good. Anua right there for the offensive rebound to clean it up. Vivian Anua on the second chance bucket. FAU at 86, so a three-pointer can match their season high in scoring in a single game. Shockers have it moving right to left. Jayla Harding, that shot won't go. Micaiah Simmons was able to clear the rebound. Owls will slow things down. 30 seconds and ticking, 86-62, FAU. Have to see how badly they want to score here. Simmons drives in from the right wing, scoops it up with the right hand, and drops it in for two. So it doesn't look like FAU is going to quite match their season high, but they're just 1 point off of it at 88. Eight seconds left to go. Asia Reeves holding it. Drives it from the left elbow. Had her shot stripped away by Anua. Back inside. Cater scores one last second bucket inside. 1 second left to go. Gewurz inbounds it to Micaiah Simmons. She holds it, and that will do it. Florida Atlantic in dominant fashion takes down Wichita State on their home court. The final score from Boca Raton, Florida Atlantic 88, Wichita State 64. The Owls shot the absolute lights out in this ball game, played fairly good defense. On top of that, the Owls shot 52% from the floor, 42% from beyond the arc. And FAU's defense was very good as well, holding the Shockers to just 34% shooting from the floor and 15% from beyond the arc. FAU notches it win number 8 now on the season, win number 8 in the Leanne Freeland era, of course. The Owls are now 8-9 on the season. They improved to 2-3 in the American. Meanwhile, Wichita State will drop to 3-15 as their big losing streak continues. 6 straight losses now for third-year head coach Terry Nooner, and they will still be looking for their first American Conference win this season. They dropped 0-5 in that department. They will stay in Florida, as mentioned before, traveling up to Tampa to take on South Florida this coming Saturday. And for Florida Atlantic, they will stay right here in their humble abode this coming Friday. They'll welcome in the UTSA Roadrunners as the Owls look to try and put a big win streak together, try and gain some momentum as they're now a few games into conference play. Looking at the box score for today's game, for FAU, the scoring really went around in bunches, pretty balanced, I would say. The Owls had 5 players in double figures tonight. Micaiah Simmons and Vivian Anua, as well as Grace Carstensen, really led the way for the Owls. Simmons was 17, Anua was 16, Carstensen with 15, and then Jess Moores and Maddie Gewurz combined for 21 as well. And for Wichita State, obviously they didn't shoot the ball very well tonight. Just couldn't really get much going. Abby Cater led the way for the Shockers with 17 points. She shot the ball fairly well, 5 of 11 and 6 of 8 from the charity stripe. Jayla McDonald right behind her with 10 points on 3 of 5 shooting. But that will do it from inside of Eleanor R. Baldwin Arena. I'm Nathan Korst. It was a pleasure having you on the broadcast. Anyone who tuned in here on this Tuesday night. As mentioned before, we will be back here on Friday night for women's basketball, but we will actually be back here this coming Thursday when Florida Atlantic men's basketball, they will be taking on Wichita State, and that will be a very, very late tip-off. That game won't start until about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that game won't end until probably around 11 p.m., at least if you're with Eastern Time. But thank you for everyone for tuning into this edition of FAU Owl Radio on YouTube. It's been an absolute pleasure. Florida Atlantic notches their second straight win as they take down Wichita State 88-64 in dominant fashion.